Hello everybody, and today we are going to be making an educational video on how to easily debunk somebody when you're arguing about Kuma's lasers. Now, I'm not gonna get into the original comment because this guy is actually kind of cool and he admitted that he was wrong on another comment section. So I'm not gonna get into this, but he basically states that Nami apparently claimed that Kuma's lasers are light speed. Now this is obviously false and I call it out, and then this guy comes in and says that Kuma's lasers is still said to be a replica of Kizaru's, therefore they must be the same, and therefore they are minimum light speed. And yeah, he basically goes into a bit of rambling without any arguments. And then he states something about relate, which I'll get into later. But basically, I debunk his whole notion by saying that a replica does not mean being exactly the same. And I also bring up the fact that Kizaru's attacks are above pacifistas, which debunks the notion that they are the same and therefore must be light speed. His entire counter is to say that I'm illiterate because the meaning of the word replica means an exact copy of something. And that's completely false, as I bring up later. I bring up the fact that it means an exact copy of something, but on a smaller scale. And yeah, he couldn't even read his own definition. He only read half of the definition and left out the rest. So he is wrong, even by definition. A replica does not mean exactly the same. It means that they look the same, but they are still not the same overall, because a replica is a smaller scale thing. I also bring up the fact that if he was literate, he would have known that, for example, replica guns don't work anything like real guns. And that's something you can always check out. Replica gun, how does it work? They don't work anything like an actual gun. So he's wrong both by definition and by actual real life examples. His entire argument crumbles based on this. Now, his other argument was to say that Kizaru's attack being above Pacifistas doesn't debunk Pacifistas' attack being lightspeed, which is a straw man of my position, because my argument isn't Kizaru's attack is above Pacifistas, therefore Pacifistas can be lightspeed. My argument is you're saying that they're the same and therefore Pacifistas' attack is at least lightspeed, yet they're not the same because Kizaru's attack is objectively stronger, and therefore your proof, your evidence that they must be the same is invalidated. Your evidence that Pacifistas' attack must be light speed is invalidated. So that was a very bad strawman. And afterwards, he basically claims that I apparently deleted a comment or like that he can't see it. I didn't see it too. I don't know what happened to his comment. He could have said a bad word which got it deleted. Like later, he basically calls me a word that's very bad. So I'm not going to be surprised. Now, afterwards, this basically devolves into a very useless trait. But what's funny is that he also claims that the 100 statement is false because they have no way of knowing how strong Rayleigh was. And this is very funny for him to claim. And he basically also acts very tough about this whole thing. But I basically put a burden of proof on him because it was his own teammate that made the statement. So he would have to prove that his teammate doesn't have knowledge on how strong Rayleigh is, that his teammate couldn't possibly know that. And he basically couldn't do that. He basically had to claim that something was deleted or whatever. Maybe he did make a response. I don't know. I don't see it. It wasn't even on the, uh, you know, held for review category, which he brings up later. And what's funny is that he claims that I didn't even bother refuting when that's not true. The last argument that I can see from him is something I bothered refuting, and I did refute. And this basically devolves into a very useless conversation, as I've said. But what's funny is that um, after all of this rambling, I'm basically saying enough is enough. Let's debate. I would debate you and I would upload the whole thing. I have nothing to hide. And then he basically claims that he doesn't have the free time. And that I'm an attention seeker. He's basically giving me the attention that apparently I want. and that he is wasting his time on me apparently, and yet he's been here for hours trying to argue me. He himself came to my thread trying to argue me. He's making videos regularly. He's making videos regularly. He's also even 2 days ago he was trying to get into this co-op or whatever it is. So apparently he's too busy to do that. He's too busy to have a proper debate that will be uploaded where he will have no excuses and no way to falsely claim that he responded to me or whatever, or that I didn't respond to him. He has the time for all of this, but not a debate. Like, now, maybe, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he does indeed not have the time for that, even though I kind of don't buy it. But even if that was true, this guy still got absolutely smoked. And he keeps on saying that he won, apparently. He keeps using ratios as an argument, even though he most likely is using outs to like his accounts or he's telling his friends to like it because of reasons I've mentioned here. But that's once again irrelevant. What matters is that this guy doesn't even know what replica is, and that he is wrong even by definition. His whole entire argument for Kuma's light speed lasers crumbles. So yeah, see you in the next one.